Good morning. Good morning again, guys. Welcome to this week's episode of Exit Strategies Radio Show. I am your host. You know who I am. Cohen J. Millett, broker and owner of Exit Realty Low Country Group in beautiful North Charleston, South Carolina. Hey, we are off to an amazing start, a great start for the year of 2022. 2020, they said we was going to have vision perfected. I think somebody punched us in the eye. 2021 was supposed to be us winning, so it's supposed to be 2021. I think somebody changed the game. So this year in 22, I don't know what we're doing, but we're going to keep yet hanging on and going on. So thank you so much for those of you who tune in, who listen to us faithfully from across the state of South Carolina, from other parts of the country, as well as other parts of the world. Our listenership is up, and we love it. We love the feedback. Thank you so much for listening, but also for sharing the show with others that you know that may have interest in knowing more about what we do here on this show, which is empower our community through financial literacy and real estate education. So guys, today is no different. All right. Today is no different. We have with us was able to go and I like to try to get him on as often as I can, but he's a busy man because he's doing some very important things. But we have none other with us today than Mr. Claude Spurlock with South Carolina Housing. So, Mr. Spurlock, how you do today?
Doing great. Excited to be here today. And really, like I said, we're coming off a record-breaking year. The Housing Authority, we did over $250 million in first-time homebuyer loans throughout the state. So we're hoping for another big year.
So we were kind of talking before, and for our listeners, guys, obviously, we have some banter and some conversations as we kind of lead in and getting ready and prep for the show. And, 2021 was an interesting year, and for it to be a record-breaking year for your program, that is amazing. So, tell us, if you don't mind, a little bit more about the South Carolina Housing Program. A state housing program, as we refer to it as in the industry.
Well, it's a great program that people don't know about. I always call it the best kept secret in South Carolina because I get talked to realtors and lenders and everybody, and they go, well, is that something new? And I'm going, well, in 1979, it was new. But we've been doing it for a lot of years, and I've been at Housing Authority for almost 19 in February. So been there a long time too. But what we do is we not only for first-time home buyers, but a lot of just home buyers, we have down payment assistance to help them get in that house. So a lot of people, some can't seem to save enough money to buy a house, and you got others that have saved it. Well, why don't they keep their money and use our money to buy their house? So right now we have a bond program called our home buyer program that has $8,000 forgivable down payment. So you can easily buy a $200,000 house, and we'll pay the full down payment for it. And you buy a little bit more, you can you put a little bit of money into and get a really nice house. Because right now our house price limits have gone up now to $325,000 throughout the state. So there's a lot of houses under $325,000. Now, some in North Charleston and Charleston might not, but we have a lot of houses out there that will qualify. And even and it's not hard to get qualified for state housing. We do have income and house price limits, but down in your area, down in Charleston, for a family of three, go up to $114,940. So, that's a lot of income. In tier 325 maximum sales price for that $8,000. So, 620 minimum credit score with a debt to income ratio of 45%. So, it's really a good program where a lot of people can qualify. And you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. Now, in Charleston County, you can own a house last 3 years. Now, that is Charleston County. But you go to Berkeley and Dorchester, we waive that first-time home buyer. So as long as you sell your house before you close on your new one, so you can close it, sell it at 10 o'clock in the morning and 10:01, you can buy a house using our program. So a lot of people will, sell that house and move up to that next house and use our program. And if that doesn't suit you with the income, we also have a program called Palmetto Home Advantage now. And that program is a market program that the rates can change every day, not like our bond, where it's kind of stagnant a lot of times, but it does change daily with the market. But that one has 4 or 5% of the loan amount as the down payment assistance. So you buy a $300,000 house, you get basically $12,000 in forgivable down payment. And it's all forgiven in 10 years on that program. You do not have to be a first-time home buyer. You can even have one other house and still get down payment to buy your next primary residence with that program.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. How about that?
Look at my dad gets me sometime with that. Because when I get stuck in that, wait a minute. But so you're telling me now that you can own a home and with Palmetto Advantage, I can qualify for down payment assistance to buy my move up property. Now
correct. That's correct. So you have a great house in a great neighborhood. You might want to rent, keep that house, get our down payment to buy your next upgrade house. It's got to be your primary residence. You can't. Now we get a lot of questions like, "Oh, I'll buy a rental house with this program." No, you cannot buy a rental house with this program. It's got to be your primary residence. But here again, there's no first-time home buyer rule with that program. And if you're the income limit for that is just the borrow income, though, not the total household like our bond. Just the borrow income has to be under $103,000 for a government loan. Now, conventional, it's I'm sure a lot of y'all have heard of Home Ready and Home Possible, the affordable housing that Freddie Mac. It's the same income limits as that, but it has 18% MI coverage instead of 35% MI coverage. So even the MI is half the price if you can qualify under that 80% AMI for a conventional loan. So some great programs, but what a lot of people use that Palmetto Home Advantage program for is not just for the to get the down payment, but if you have your own down payment, the rates are really cheap on this program. On a government loan today, it's 2.75 fixed rate for a 30-year FHA, VA, USDA loan if you have your own down payment. So, that's a good rate with a 640 credit score for this program.
Interesting.
So not only do we have that first-time homebuyer program, we've got this program now. So we did about $60 million in this program last year. It was a fairly new. We relaunched it in February last year. We did like I guess 12 million or so 2 years ago. Last year we did 60 million. So it's really catching on. A lot of lenders are using that program. But here again, our flagship program is our bond program that we did about $212,000 last year in that program.
That is impressive. So one of the things from an industry perspective, so one, finding lenders who understand the program, number one, and two, who are willing to do the loans, because for whatever reason, there's a lot of, and everything changes.
Yeah.
You have, stigmas, myths, and all this stuff. And, sometimes people, a lot of agents don't know these kind of programs exist. So when they see something like this, they're, uncertain, unsure. They don't do the research. They just form an opinion in regards to it. But, I just recently helped a buyer, I closed a buyer right before, matter of fact, right before Christmas, I believe it was, on the state housing program. And long story short, it was a fast, smooth, efficient closing. It closed in 30 days, just like any other transaction would have. There was not near any hiccup. The lender knew what they were doing. They worked well, kept communication open. It's one of the best transactions I've done in a very, very long time. And, we've done quite a bit of them. So, to have something to compare against. And again, for it to be a state housing loan, it was very efficient. Because a lot of lenders don't believe that they are. A lot of people don't believe that they are.
And we have a lot of loan officers that go through our training classes and still, I don't know if I want to do that program. I really hate it when I hear that from some of the lenders that do our programs, because and what we have done we started last summer. If you go to our website at schousing.com and go under homebuyers, there's a tab there that says lending partners. You can go on there, click there, put in the county you want to buy a house in, but also at the very bottom of the page, we have our top 25 loan officers scrolling across that screen.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So now you know that those 25 really want to do our program, because some of those do as many as 60 loans a year of state housing. So they really do like state housing. So, but we have that going now. We also have a list in there. You go to the county, and it'll list all the loan officers in the state that has gone through the training classes. If you get one, I hate to say that, oh, well, they try to talk you out of it. They just have never done it. I get a lot of feedback from realtors say, well, my lender said it takes, 2 months or more to get a state housing loan, and a lot of that kind of stuff, and which kills me, because what we have done in the last year, in fact, during COVID, it kind of helped us out, because we were able to really kind of work together internally to simplify the operation, get things done. We've gone from 8 forms to now 3 forms is all that's required now, this additional to the program. Very simple to fill out now. They're done automatically on our system. They come out pre-filled out for about 80% of the information. And then our underwriting, we have streamlined that tremendously. And we've been on a 1 or 2 day turnaround almost all of last year, even though we had a record-breaking year. And so we expect that to still be that way. So now we're used to take, 60 days. In fact, when I first started doing state housing loans, when I worked for Saving the Loan, it took 3 months to get a state housing loan approved and all. But now you're talking most of our loans close within 30 to 45 days.
And that's one of the things, that's one of those stigmas that remains. So, people that, had the experience, 15, 20 years ago, in turn are still telling people today, it takes too long for it to close. No, you don't, things change. I mean, to be frank about it, when I first got into the business, it took, a certain period of time to get a transaction done. Things came about, they changed. Sometimes they got longer, sometimes they got a little faster.
Right.
But, it's all in managing the processes and procedures that are necessary to facilitate the transaction. And it sounds like you guys have done a fabulous job of doing so, of managing it, especially during COVID, of just kind of jumping in and saying, hey, where can we tweak? Where can we edit? What can we change to make the process better for everybody? That is huge. That is huge. Well, Claude, hold right there. We're going to take a quick breath so we can, quote unquote, pay the bills with the commercials. And then we're going to pick right back up. But thank you so much for being here with us today. Hold tight.
Okay.
Congratulations to this week's Realtor of the Week for Exit Realty Low Country Group. None other than Special Ed Haraway, the realtor that treats you special. You can reach Ed at 240-375-2871 or text Special Ed, that's SPECIALED, to 85377. He's the realtor that treats you special. And guys, we are back. We're on the second segment, guys, of Exit Strategies radio show. We have none other than Claude Spurlock with South Carolina SD, the state housing program, as we in the industry refer to. Many of you talk about or have heard people talk about down payment assistance. Some people refer to them as grants. They're really down payment assistance loans. We're going to work on some of them, some of those misnomers this year. But we have none other than Claude Spurlock with us today to talk more about the program and what's going on. So, guys, we're not going to go through the fanfare. We're going to jump right back into it. So, Claude, thank you so much for being here with us again today. So, we're talking before the break about the Palmetto Advantage program.
Correct.
That's a huge one, and I want to take just a moment to kind of recap on that piece, because everyone, as you may mention, everybody knows about the bond program if they know about state housing at all. And for those of you who don't know about this is one of those things, affordable housing and all this stuff and what you can do. We're going to try to educate people this year more on that, because typically you're not in a position to, with affordable housing, if you will, to do certain things. But you just laid out with the Palmetto Advantage program that you can be an existing homeowner, qualify with the Palmetto Advantage program, get down payment assistance to buy a new home to move into, while you take your starter home and turn that into a rental property.
Correct. Yeah, you can do that.
I'm not see. Hold on. I think my phone would just go off right there. Like, wait a minute, what? So for our listeners, guys, that is huge. So pick up the phone and you need to call our office, talk to one of our agents so we can get you connected to a lender, or call a lender that does the state housing program. So before I go too far, you may mention about the website. So the website is what?
It's schousing.com. It's www.schousing.com.
All right.
And to find information on our bond and our Palmetto Advantage programs, you'll go to homebuyers tab, and then it has all the tabs for the Palmetto Advantage, for our bond program, the income and house price limits for the bond and Palmetto Advantage, and all those are all listed there. You can research, and you're more than happy to call our office. If you have a question, we'd prefer you to call the realtors and talk with the realtors or our lenders, because we only have so much staff, and we get tons of calls a day about people asking how to qualify or how do I apply. Most people think they go on our website and apply. You do not apply with us. The lender does all the paperwork. We're a state agency, so we don't do lending directly. We have lenders. We have, I think it's 113 lenders now that are approved to do our loans throughout the state. So there's tons of them that will do these programs for you. They do all the paperwork. They submit it to us. Here again, we said earlier, there's a 1 or 2 day turnaround in most cases of all the files for approval. So it doesn't slow up your process in doing a state housing loan like it did years and years ago. Mm-hmm. And one thing we didn't say, just to bring up on Palmetto Advantage, there's no house price limit on Palmetto Advantage. So if you've got $200,000 in the bank you want to put down on a house, you could buy a $500,000 house and get our program. It's the limits that Fannie and Freddie have, and HUD, their maximum house price limits is what you can go up to on that program. So whatever you have, we've done a lot of $400,000 houses on that program already. So it really makes a huge difference. I think our average loan amount is over $212,000. I think it is on that program last year. So they are very big loans on that kind of our bond. But even our bond now is going to about $165,000 for our average on our bond program now. So it's things have really changed the last couple of years on those house price limits and things.
That's interesting. And I mean, granted, the pressure, the market is putting pressure on it. I mean, housing prices have increased exponentially. And in turn, there has to be some adjustments to these programs in order to still assist people, because if not, you're gonna bind people and essentially cap them out in the market. I mean, we've seen a lot of that, unfortunately. So every year, and I don't know if you can give us a teaser or not, but every year you guys roll out the Palmetto Heroes program. Yep. So will there be a program this year?
As far as I know, yes. We are starting to look at that and to plan on it. Last year was phenomenal. We had $50 million that we used every dime of that last year. It was with 12,000 10-year forgivable down payment and a 2.75 fixed rate. And we had it available from April 3rd through August 20th, I think it was. Then it ran out of funding at that time. We are planning one for 2022. Don't have any details of what it will be. We're still just at this first planning stage, and they don't tell me all the details because they say I have a big mouth and I tell everybody everything. So I have to be, so they don't tell me everything until right before it rolls out because oh yeah, I got something coming. Can't do that with Palmetto Heroes. They do like to keep it kind of a surprise when it rolls out every year. So we are planning on that. And also in the spring is when we get our new income and house price limits from HUD. So we're hoping that they will be available, at time of Palmetto Hero rollout. If not, it'll be right after that. We'll have those new income and house price limits, so they could increase this year, especially with the market. It's going to be interesting to see what those numbers come from HUD that we can use for our program for 2022 up to spring of 23.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. You had, your loan limits have changed.
Yeah.
And yeah, FHA loan limits, Freddie Fannie, conforming limits.
So I can see that bond limit going up this year easily, and the incomes have gone up a lot too. So even last year they went up almost 5,000 in some counties. The annual. So it's going to be interesting to see what those numbers are truly going to be this year.
Interesting, very interesting, very interesting. So let's talk about for some context and content, for understanding. The bond program, how is that funded?
The bond is actually through tax exempt bonds. The state gets so much per person for tax exempt bonds, and we get a portion of that for the housing authority, and we get those bonds allocated to us. We put them out for sale in the open market, so anyone can buy these housing bonds. Okay. And whatever rate that we're able to get for those bonds is our rate that that we can make a little bit of money. We have to make a little bit of money because stay in business, because SC Housing gets no state funding, which a lot of people think we're a state agency. So it doesn't matter what we do, because if we don't make money, we're not there. So we have to make money to stay in business. So we do make some money off of that program on every loan that we close, and so that keeps us in business. And we to do this for to pay for the down payment for things like that we do. So it's all bonds. It could depend. 3%. It could be 4%. When I first started Housing Authority, we were at 8.5%. almost 20 years ago. So it just depends, because now everybody's got used to these 3% rates and 2.5% rates, and everybody thinks, oh my God, 3.5%, this is crazy. My first house through the house authority was 9.25%, and I was thrilled to get that and had to wait in line for it.
I've been doing this 17 going 18 years. And when I first started in the business, interest rates were, like you said, 8, 9, whatever percent. I remember some people closing loans, high 9s and things of that nature. Obviously home prices were different, but, nowadays, the difference between the home price and the rate, I saw people back then with far less of a home price with a payment that was very similar to what people have now with a 3 or so percent rate. So but anyway, that's very, very, very good information. So that people have an understanding of, where the money comes from. Sometimes, like you said, people think that you're a state funded organization, but you're not.
No. Those bonds pay for everything that we do, and other departments that we have. It pays for a lot of stuff for the whole agency that we make on those bonds, and we keep and we get the money off the interest course of the bonds that we have, and the difference that we have to pay to the investors, we get to keep. So, but that, and then on the Permanent Home Advantage program, that's a market program. So what we do on that program is that we make the loans and we sell it in securities, and then we make a little bit of money off that security when we sell it, and that's on that program. So with everything we do, we do make a little bit of money.
Well, look, that's necessary. People sometimes forget, but you're providing a great service. We know in the current climate that money is expensive. Interest rates and things fluctuate. We see a lot of things happening and anticipate a lot more to happen this year as relates to the Fed interest rate. So it'll be interesting to see how that trickles and how, it affects you guys. But you guys tend to be a little bit outside of that, and every time I look, you guys, you're not fluctuating like, other sectors, other parts of the market are as far as rates go. But most importantly, you guys providing down payment assistance. Mind
Yeah,
blowing
that's
that,
right.
you're helping people get into homes, even if it is different, it's worth it.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah, exactly. So, Claude, thank you so much for being here today. Our listeners obviously will have questions. So guys, we direct you to go to sehousing.com to get more information about this program. You can learn, what's available, and that way, when you speak to your real estate professional and or loan officer, you can have that conversation and say to them, "Hey, I saw this. How can this benefit me?" And that way, you can get the information interpreted to fit your particular circumstance and situation. So, Claude, again, thank you so much for being with us today. Anything imparting for our listeners that you want them to know and be encouraged with this program for 2022?
Well, just to know that we are here. We're here to help you get into a house. That's what we do. And so if you're thinking about buying a house and you're a first time home buyer or not with our Permit Advantage, look at state housing, talk to your loan officer, your realtor about state housing and see what we can offer you. Because like I said, if you've been saving and saving, you've got that 8 or 10,000 that you need to buy a house, why not use our money and keep your money in the bank in case something happens? And we've seen the last 2 years, a lot of things can happen. So that's one of the great things for us that we let you have money in the bank. We don't. Some of the down payment systems in the past have said, "Well, you can't have so much money left over after you close, or if you've got any money, you have to use your money first before you get state housing money." Well, that's not true. You can keep all the money that you have. You've had 50,000 in the bank. You can keep that money and still get our down payment assistance. So a lot of people don't know that is out there too. Is just to keep your own money, and like I said, in case of an emergency.
Well, that's what it should be. And this program is designed to help people make it happen, quote unquote, the right way. So, Claude, again, thank you so much for being a part of the Exit Strategies Radio Show family. We thank you for being a guest today. We look forward to having you back on soon. Probably around the time, when Palmetto Heroes comes out. We'd love to talk to you. Get a
Yeah,
little bit
think
more
about 1st of
insight.
April, somewhere in that range. I think probably a good time to have me back. I'll be glad to anytime. Anytime I can help you out, I'll be more than happy to.
I appreciate it. So to our listeners, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Thank you so much for being a part of our family. You know what we say. You know what I say. I love you. I love you. And you know I love you. I'm going to see you guys out there in them streets. It's been an awesome show, and we'll see you next week.